The following is a conversation between Matías De Stefano, referred to as me, and his higher self, referred to as I am. The date is 18th of October 2020, and the subject is the emotional aspect of the sacral chakra in Libra. Me. If there is a sensitive issue today in human society, it is the duality between the feminine and the masculine, between women and men. Some say that man and woman are concepts that define a person's sex, not gender, and that feminine and masculine can be any person. We all have feminine and masculine aspects, more linked to personality than to sex itself. It's a very complex issue, but a very enriching duality that is increasingly complex to describe and define. I am. It is because of the simple fact that they give too much importance to cataloging things. From the universal point of view, the cosmos does not consider so many things. The cosmos simply is. Everything is easier and simpler. Sometimes people confuse that the fact that the universe is mind makes you perceive the cosmos in a rigid and mental way. However, your emotions seem to be more rigid than the cosmic mind. Me. Yes, today coming back from the pyramid, this came to my mind, that I have noticed that certain people are saying that our conversations sound very mental, very analytical, and lack of love and emotion of the soul. What do you think that is? I am. The soul is energy, it is movement, and it can only be mobilized through experience. The spirit is vibration. It is the mind that gives logic to said movements. The question would not be, why are our dialogues so analytical? The question would be, where do you look for an answer from? For example, mathematics. Is it mental and analytical for you? Me. I would say yes. I am. Well, no. That's what you've been led to believe. Going to a math class where they teach you problems is not the same as having a problem and seeking to solve it yourself by asking for help. In the first case, mathematics will be mental and analytical. In the second case, mathematics will be emotional and heartfelt. Why? Me. Because in the first case I'm not interested, and in the second I am. There is a purpose that leads me to experience it. I am. There is the key. Everything that we do not experience or do not feel related to our experience seems mental to us, and everything that correlates to the understanding of our experience is emotional. Basically because emotion is movement, and if I am in movement, I will feel it. And if I'm not on the move, I'll think about it. It's simple. For this reason, judging how analytical or sentimental information is totally subjective to what you are experiencing at that moment. Me. Understood. I am. As the theme of the feminine and masculine. Before it was not subjective, it was objective, and therefore there was no discussion about it. Today the biological has become ideological, and the concrete has become conceptual. Just as the invisible became faith, faith became magic, magic became metaphysics, metaphysics became physics, and now physics has become quantum physics. What was previously considered human became male and female, from there male and female, which became male and female. Probably in the translation has been lost, masculine and feminine, and man and woman. And it continues, which now, like quantum, became totally relative. Me. In other words, our society is experiencing culturally what is also happening at a technological level. Before physics was the basis of everything, now it is quantum. Before the objective was the basis of life, today it is the subjective. Before it was the concrete, and now it's the conceptual. I am. And the question is, which one is real? Me. Difficult to say. considering that the universe is not real either, but a mere projection of the unit. I am, well, taking into account this simple fact of perception and clarifying that the universe is a fractalization of unity, we can then begin to analyze these delicate concepts that are not really separate, but are two sides of the same coin. Me, and where would you start? I am, as we have always done. Let's start with the origin of words, demystifying many of the preconceptions we have about them, and for there we will go on to understand the history of why they have been formed as such, from the biological to the cultural, and later to the conceptual. Me. Well, let's get to it. What is feminine and what is masculine? I am. Feminine comes from the Latin femina, which means female, that is, referring to the organic, sexual and biological quality of a pregnant individual. The same for masculine, which comes from mascul, which means male, an organic and sexual attribute of the biology of a fertilizing individual. Me. Wait a minute. I always considered that feminine and masculine were more subtle attributes of the soul. I am. Oh no, it is a common mistake, because throughout the linguistic evolution, many concepts have been changing due to the use and disuse of the language. Today you can interpret that a man has feminine aspects when he is delicate. But saying that a man is feminine is like literally saying that he has female organs, vagina, uterus. Me. Exactly the opposite of my belief. I am. Well, I'm here to try to free you from them, don't you think? Me. Yes. So, what is a woman and a man? I am. Another interesting aspect that will make you change your mind about both words. Let's start with man. Man is a deformation of the neutral concept human, which in Latin is called hominus. The origin comes from humus, which means earth. It is interpreted then that men were born from the earth, unlike the gods in the heavens. The human is the terrestrial, and hence in all the mythologies narrate legends of men of clay being born from the very earth or being created by the gods, artists who molded figurines of clay of damp earth. In turn, human has another Indo-European root within it, man, which means the thinker. That being that was born from the earth and is thinking, differentiating itself from the rest of the animals. In English, the word man, remember this, a thinking being, born of clay that was shaped by the hands of the gods. Hands in Spanish has the same origin, the maker. Thus, the word man is a deformation of homine, a more general concept and not specific to the male, but rather incorporated the female as well. Me. Is this the reason why the fact of saying men when speaking of humanity became naturalized? It is not that woman was denied, but that its old meaning was used out of habit? I am. That's right. However, times and the use of language change, and this should also change. Returning to the concept of human would be more neutral, since today man does refer to the male. Me. And woman, where does it come from? I am. You will be surprised. But first we must review another hidden etymology of the word man. The sound br in the word man for Spanish, hombre, is what specifically differentiates it from macho, since the sound br comes from the Indo-European vri, bir, or vir, which means strong. From there the word virile, virility, and the name male are born to define a boy. So how would you define a woman thinking like the ancients? Me. Normally with its antonym, weak. I am. Close. Woman comes from moleris, which means soft, soften, wet, mollusk, fluffy, all concepts related to women. Me. Wow. Etymologically, using the word woman to talk about the defense and empowerment of women is almost an insult. I am. You could say. The English word woman also originates from man, of man, but in this case referring to vifman, an old concept to speak of women as belonging, wife. It depends on what language was taken to refer to every woman regardless of whether she was married or not. Me. In other words, all the words referring to women are fundamentally sexist, even the word woman itself. I am. Yes and no. Me. In what sense? I am. As we said, let's go to history. With the eyes of the 21st century, you cannot judge 300,000 years of human history. You can only build a future by acknowledging the mistakes of the past, but nothing more. Discovering these injustices does not give you the strength to change the past, but to raise awareness about the future. So let's start with our story. At the origin of human history, in the first tribes that we now call families, the context in which they had to survive was very complicated. Harsh climate, many predators, many dangers. There were very clear goals set: eat, sleep, and reproduce. Thus, the first humans organized their tasks. Think of it like a BBC nature documentary. The male had to ensure two things: his offspring and the creation of more hunters to help. The female knew that the gestation process would take 9 months. Well, in reality, they did not know that, but they counted at least 6 or 5 months since they noticed the pregnancy. During that time, they were easy and weak prey for the predators. For this reason, they had to remain in the caves, administering the food brought by the male, who was strong. Society was organized, therefore, taking care of women from predators, in which the males brought food to the house, where the women had to make the family bigger to have more possibilities of hunting, gathering, and survival. Life is so easy. Basically, this system works in cultures that live from day to day in relation to survival. In periods of history of cultural boom, stability, men and women have the possibility of both staying at home, reading, learning, studying, and developing without having to survive. This generates equality between men and women, because at last they have the possibility of developing their intellect. Civilizations such as the Mesopotamian, Nile Valley, Hellenic, and Italian civilizations, as well as other small cultures scattered throughout the world in America and Asia, reached this equality of opportunities in the face of the growth of wealth, allowing women to occupy roles of men and women. Men fill women's roles, that is, men with softer and weaker tasks, and women with tasks of strength and power. When civilizations fall and fail, the systematic organization of survival returns, in which the woman goes back to the house and the upbringing while the man works. In the last 300,000 years, the periods of stability in civilizations do not add up to more than 2,000 years scattered throughout history. That is to say that approximately 298,000 years have been weak and strong, as in your life itself. Taking a weekend course on pattern release will not eliminate the habit of all the years of repetition since the day you were born. Me. It takes a long time. I am. Because cultures and their philosophies do not change because of an idea, but because of an aptitude. The context, the linguistics, are not changed by a momentary ideology, but by a balanced context that naturalizes the balance between the parts. Me. You mean this forced intention that feminine and masculine mix of changing words, concepts, ideas in others about gender, sexuality, the role of women and men? I am. History is neither sexist nor hembrist. Men are not against women, nor have women been against men. What there has been is a natural organization based on a context. The focus that it is being placed today on the struggle of the genders is the wrong one. It is the same focus that a teacher or school teacher has on her students. You must learn this, yes or yes, because it will be useful for life. And the students will wonder, I still don't know what problem you're talking about. Because you cannot teach how to solve something before the problem arises. Because humans learn by experience, by assimilation and adaptation to the context. Me. What would be the focus to balance the feminine and masculine? I am a human society. Simple. A society that seeks to cover the basic needs of education, nutrition, and emotional stability. The rest comes only through the freedom of being. A being that is well nourished from childhood, that is affectionate and that receives a good education, not teaching, is capable of resolving any issue in the future. The focus is to humanize us, not divide us into more genders. The more you focus on the acceptance of more genders, transsexuals, asexuals, bisexuals, homosexuals, heterosexuals, men who feel like women, women who feel like men, more and more, you will find yourself further and further away from humanity. Me. But why? In other words, isn't accepting diversity being more humanistic? I am. Yes, it is. But where do you do it from? Me. In what sense? I am. The human is diverse. The human is by nature all things. There is only one biological truth. There is the male and the female, with their genitalia, their biologically defined sexes. From here, recognizing this, you can do what you want. Because you are free, you can become a woman or a man. You can be feminine or masculine. You can be weak or strong. You can be whatever sexuality you want. Freedom does not imply struggle, but acceptance. And many, instead of finding humanity in acceptance, the only thing they do is continue dividing women and men into more things, into more categorizations, more conflicts. Me. That is to say that diversity is not precisely found in differentiating and specifying each type of person, but in simply understanding them as one more human, free to be and express themselves as they wish. I am. The human is a vulnerable and empowered being by nature. He is weak and strong as a being in himself, because each individual has a tender part and a rigid part. Therefore, each individual is a woman and a man at the same time. Nature has only separated the feminine from the masculine, with the sole objective of having greater possibilities of procreation and expansion of the species. But both have the same potential, and what you do with it will not depend on your sexuality, but on your humanity. Me. So, balancing the feminine and the masculine has nothing to do with making the man a little weaker and the woman stronger, but both more human. I am. Well, both were born from the earth. Both are the earth, and that is the midpoint that they both share. Many define the masculine as the aspect of purpose, of direction, and the feminine as a process of containment of generation, and yes, they are organic and biological attributes of male and female, although they are not unique and determinant factors. The ability to generate and contain exists in the man as the direction and determination also exists in the woman. Well, they're both human. The next time you see a human, do not classify them according to their gender, because it is the same as evaluating the intellectual capacity of an individual based on the size of their genitals. Me. The only thing capable of balancing the feminine and masculine in me, the man and the woman that coexist within me, is to remember that they are both human. I am. There is the only truth. There lies the power of creation.